Entire portrait, we're ready to do a background, something similar to this. I'm going to go ahead and be deleting all my background layers. I'll rebuild it with you guys right now. So you'll see that I have 4 layers over here, 1, 2, 3 in background. You guys probably have background by default. So what I'll do is try to simulate that. And I'll make a new layer down here, and I will call it background. Now, yours may or may not be locked. If yours is locked, what I would recommend that you do is double click on the layer. It'll bring up not this exact menu, but something else, and just hit OK, and then you'll see that it just goes unlocked, and then you'll be good to go. Your background will also be just straight white by default, like this. It'll probably look more like this. We're just going to be putting a simple gradient on it just to kind of give it like a cool blend, and then we'll be adding extra features. Let me go to the gradient tool and show you guys where that is. It's over here on the left side of your screen. It looks like a blended rectangle from dark to light. Its hotkey here is G. We'll be going over hotkeys more in upcoming projects. If for whatever reason it's on Paint Bucket, you can 2-finger click it and switch it to gradient. Now when you have gradient, that's a blend of 2 colors. If you look down here in the bottom left of where your tools are, you'll have 2 colors. I'm not sure what yours are by default, maybe black and white, but we're going to change both of them. So the first color here for me is white. What I want to do is double click it. So I'm going to double click real fast, tap tap, and you'll see that this color picker window opens up over here. On the right side here are like families of colors. I can choose kind of whatever I want. I'm going to try to simulate what I had before. I think I had something like this. And then, oh, in the middle, this big square, this is where you can kind of choose your shade of that color, you know, or saturation of it. Get it to where you want, and then you can hit OK. You have a second color that's kind of behind it. I want you to double tap that one as well. Mine, if you look down here, is kind of like a yellow at the moment. I believe that's actually what I had, so I'm actually probably going to leave that where it is. But again, you could change it if you want, and then hit OK. So once again, finally, down here, bottom left, you should have 2 colors that you kind of want to merge or blend together. Last but not least, let's make sure that the gradient is set up here. Up in the top, when you have the gradient selection tool or gradient tool selected, you'll see this blend of colors or something of the sort. Hit this drop-down arrow right here, and then folders will open up. Go to Basics and expand that. You want this left one selected. This other one in the middle will blend your first color into nothing, and then it also just gives you the default black to white. So make sure you have this first one selected. Last but not least are types of gradients, and you can use whatever you want of these. I'll quick show you what all of them do. So let me hide my character here. So this first one, if I click and drag and let go, it'll make a blend from one color to the other in the direction that I drag. So if I go this way, it'll blend them that way. This second one right here is like a radial gradient or circular, so it'll blend out from a circle. So my initial color, the cyan, will blend into a yellow from a circle. This third one here is really weird. It's, I can't really describe it. I'll just do it and you can see. It does leave like this hard edge and blends around it. I call this one the lightsaber. The next one, that's not a good example. Let me do that. There we go. You'll get it like the second color on both sides. The last one is very similar to the circle, except it's more of like a star. So let me go back, bring in my smudge layer, and I just like the basic one, so it's totally up to you what you guys want to use. I'm gonna leave it at that, like right there. I think it was opposite last time, so we'll see what this does. And then you're good to go on your gradient. So go ahead and build your gradient, and we'll move on to the next step. All right, right here you have your background layer. If you have it selected, again, you can tell because it's light gray. Go down to the new layer icon, the one with the plus sign, and hit, or click it, I guess. You'll see layer 1. You can just leave it saying layer 1. We're going to use a new tool this time, and probably use it a couple times throughout the year, is the Lasso tool. It's the third down from the top, but my favorite of these is this Polygonal Lasso tool. So if you right-click the Lasso tool here, you'll get this expanded menu. Choose Polygonal Lasso tool, and then click it. Then, also, we want to take whatever your main color is, this one here, that's my blue, like the front one, double-click that, and I want you to change it to straight-up white. Go to the top left, white, hit OK. Now, we can make kind of any shape that you want here, but I want you to start towards the bottom. So I'm actually going to go right here in the bottom left, click, and I'm going to go all the way over to the other side and click. And you'll see that like this little bar kind of appears. That's where you click next. I'm going to go click right here, and maybe here, there, and you'll see that it's building kind of like a, kind of jaggedy line. Do something of that sort, no right or wrong. Then here comes the big one. You want to go back to the original spot. You'll see if you hover over the original spot, a little circle appears by the lasso icon, like literally on the spot. That's a way to signify that if you click, it will close the loop, or at any point in time, you could double tap really fast, and it'll also close the loop, and you'll end up with this dotted line. That's where your selection is. That's perfect. So, last time we used the gradient tool, again, here it is. We just want the paint bucket actually for this. So right-click on gradient, go to paint bucket, click inside, and you'll get straight up white. I want to deselect this selection. See how it has these dotted lines here? If I hold down Command, it's to the left or right of the spacebar, and while I'm holding Command down, I hit D as in dog, or deselect. So yeah, it just deselects it, nice and easy. To make this white look cooler, we're going to do two things. The first of which is we're going to liquify it, and we've either done this project or haven't, but Liquify is a cool filter that I like a lot. So if you look up at the top of your screen, you're going to see Filter right here, where I just clicked it, and then you're looking for the option called Liquify right here. After you click Liquify, this little menu guy will open up. I want you to just make sure that you have this top left tool selected in the Liquify window called Forward Warp, and you can make your brush size pretty big by clicking the right bracket, kind of what we used before for all the smudging, and just kind of smudges around and make this uneven so it's cooler and not just like a straight line. You can make any kind of neat little pattern that you want. You could even bring it up from like the bottom too if you want. So if you want to do that, you can. And then when you're done, hit OK in the bottom of this window. Now, looking alright, right? But here's a cool layer effect. When you have layer 1 selected, up here where it says normal, that's like its a layer setting. If you click that, you'll get a whole bunch of options, and you can hover over them and see kind of what each one does. I really recommend either soft light or overlay, maybe even hard light. Or no, hard light doesn't work well with white, so soft light or overlay. I think overlay is really cool. Second thing is opacity. Right here I have it at 100%. Like dimming these things down to like somewhere in the 30s, 40s, something like that. Now that we have layer 1, I'm going to make a new layer. So I'm going to go down here to create new layer, and I have layer 2. And I'm just going to repeat this process 3 times. So do it quick, maybe without any editing. I'm going to use the lasso tool, and again, just kind of like click, click, click. I'm moving up a little bit though this time. So see, I'm not like going at the bottom. Double click to close it. Go back to the paint bucket tool right here. Click in the thing. Command D to deselect, and then filter, liquify. Wait for the liquify window to come up, and then we can warp this thing into like a cool pattern. Get it looking more unique. Then hit OK in the bottom right. And then I'm going to go up here, I'm going to go overlay, and then I'm going to reduce its opacity down to like 40-some%. We're good. All right, last one. There we go. That way you have kind of like, a little bit more to it than if it was just, standard status quo. Something you could do too if you want with these, instead of white, I'll tell you guys beforehand. I'm just sampling this. I'll show you what it kind of looks like. Let me hide these other two real quick. And I'll click in here. That way, if you take one of your colors, you might like those results better. It blends it a little bit more. Why is that one not working? There we go. So that way it's a little bit more blended in. So if you want something with a little bit of contrast, you can actually take existing colors from yours. If you are thinking about doing that and you want some help on that, let me know individually and we can make that happen. I think that actually does look cooler. All right, I am going to just put this in this video real quick. I know this is a long one, but I think it would really help. Your smudge layer right here, what I would recommend that you do, let me delete the edge touch up and I'll show you what. Duplicate this, so click and drag this to the new layer icon. Eyeball out the basic smudge or the old smudge, where it says smudge copy, double click that, and do like edge, because what we're going to do is clean up the edges. If you look around your character, you'll probably notice that there's some imperfections. This takes 2 seconds, and it's totally worth doing. on this new edge layer, click the layer mask. You can see that I have it selected because of the box around it right here. And then you want to go over to the paintbrush tool. It's just literally B on the toolbar. You can just hit that. And what I want you to make sure is that your primary color, the top one right here, if you're looking at the bottom left of the screen, is black, okay? Black. Then take a brush size. It's not too big, not too small for the area. And I just kind of want you to hover around the outskirts of your character, and you'll see that it kind of erases or hides any like real harsh edges. This will typically happen around like their shoulders and stuff like that. The hair is probably fine by itself. Check the arms if their arms are in it. I know his arms look a little rough around the side, so I'm just going to trim it a little bit to kind of like give it a little bit of like a fade right there. I think everything else looks good. It just was weird around his white shirt. So if anything looks weird like that, you could trim it for the edge. Then you're done. So when we are done projects, like we're ready to submit them, we need to save them to the computer this time. So if you follow me through these steps, this is it. File in the very top left of your screen, you're going to choose File, and then you're going to choose Save As right here, Save As. And normally we would do Cloud, but when you're done a project, you actually want to save it on your computer. This is the only way that you can submit it to me. You can't submit a Cloud file to me, well, easily anyway. Hit Save on Computer. I want to try to collapse this to show you. Yeah, yours might look something like this by default. The big thing here, where, click this and choose desktop. Find desktop in here and choose desktop. That way you just know exactly where it's saving. It's nice and easy to find. So where, desktop. The name again should be Smudge Portrait / and then your name. And it should be .psd. And then you can go ahead and hit save. Oh, I already had one on here. I'm not going to replace it just for the sake of this video, but that's exactly what you want to do is hit save. After that, I'll walk you through how to put it on Schoology in person. And congratulations, you're done.